Yo, what's going on, everybody? Los here, coming back at you with another video. And this time, I have a CGC unboxing video for you. And it's these guys right here. So, you want to know what I got? You know what to do. Hop on that train, take a journey with me. Alright, so we're back, and like I said, got a CGC unboxing. And as you can see, we got this nice little bubble package here. This is usually how CGC sends their books now. If you submit more than a certain amount of books, I think I submitted like 10, I believe. Yeah, they don't send them in the corrugated cardboard that they used to anymore. They still put it in a box, but they kind of put it in this bubble thing. Maybe if you send more, like 25 or 30 or whatever, maybe they still do that. But when it's less, they send them kind of in this bubble, which is actually not bad. I kind of like this bubble. It feels like it's very, very protected. So we're going to go through the books that I got. I wanted to do this as a live stream, but time constraints and work and family and life, kind of got in the way, and it was gonna be kind of short notice. I was like, you know what, I'll just do it as a recorded video and I'll put it out there. Dave, if you're watching this, I know we were kind of gonna do a collabo unboxing on this guy, but just couldn't do it. But I'm pretty sure I'll be sending some more books in, and when those come in, maybe we'll do a live stream on that one. But these are the books that I got, and I know the grades. You don't know the grades. Some of these were crack and represses. I bought them at a certain grade, cracked it, cleaned it, pressed it, resubmitted it. Some of them were books that I had submitted previously. Didn't like the grade that I got, read the grader's notes, and I thought I can fix them, send them back in, and we're going to see if we were able to get some grade bumps on these guys. So I do have the grades, or my predictions of what I thought they were going to be, and then we're going to see how close I was. All right? So we're going to slide this top off. So it comes in, it's two pieces. These little bubble wraps are like in two pieces. There's a top and bottom. And you kind of just separate them, pull them apart, and you kind of go from there. So we're going to pop this out. They kind of get stuck a little bit. So I think 10 is like the max that you could put in this guy. All right, so we're going to throw that over there. And let me see. Let's put these books right over here next to me, and then I can kind of do them one at a time. So this one that's on top, I'm gonna save this one for last because I got something to say with that one. All right. So the first one up is actually, let's open up the Comic Cam. Sorry. Let's do that. All right. So you can kind of see these guys. And so the first one up is one that was, it got hot for a little while when it came out. I believe it's like a 1 in 5. It's like very strange. But this was, a title that sold out fairly quick. And, it was hot for a while. Obviously, it comes crashing down like most modern variants. But I think it's still fairly marketable in high grade. And the one I'm talking about is fairly suggestive cover. I don't know. I'm not monetizing anything, so I don't know if YouTube's gonna hit me with this, but I'm gonna make this video not for children because this first cover is a little suggestive, and you'll see why. So the first one is this one right here, and yes, it is Erotech #1, and this was the 1 in 5. And I got 2 copies of this, sent it in. I thought it was going to be a 9.8 because it was clean as hell. And we got a 9.8. So, yeah, this was an interesting book. Not a book that I was planning on keeping. I just knew it was hot for a while. And, thought I'd jump on the train, get it when it was cheap. And, see what I can get. I knew it was going to get a 9.8, and it did. So nothing too crazy. I never read the story or anything like that. Like I said, I wasn't very interested in it. I just thought it'd be a good book to flip. All right, so the next book is actually a crack and repress. So I submitted this one. I had 2 copies of this book, and I submitted both of them. And one came back as a 9.8. The other one came back as a 9.4. I read it. I read the description or the graders notes, and they basically said that there was some spine ticks and a couple other things, which I thought I got out, but apparently maybe they sat there too long and they came back. It happens. So this time, I pressed it again. A little more time I gave it. And it's this guy right here. So we got X-Men 522. And this is the Mark Brooks variant cover. I love this cover. This is the 3rd copy that I have of it. Like I said, the other one is a 9.8. And my other one is a 9.8. But that one I got sketched and signed by Mark Brooks. I thought that was awesome. And was I able to get a bump on this guy from a 9.4? Bam! So got it to that 9.8, so happy about that. I was able to get the rest of the creases out that were here, but excellent book. Love this cover. I've always loved this. Mark Brooks, one of my favorites, and Kitty Pryde on the missile. And I believe it's like an homage to was it Doctor Strangelove, I think, or something like that, where the guy's riding the atomic bomb or something like that, riding down, cowboy style. And so I thought this was really cool. I don't believe there's anything to this story other than just this copy is a variant cover. And back in 2010, variant covers weren't as prominent as they are now, so they were a little more scarce to get. So thought this was awesome, and like I said, this is probably one that's going to be moving on. But happy to get that in a 9.8. So that was a nice bump, is what I wanted, because if you don't have it in a 9.8, it really doesn't sell very well. All right, so the next one is another crack and resubmit. I submitted this one as well, and the first time it came back as a 9.2. I thought this was, or had the potential to at least be, a 9.6 or better. And I was reading the graders notes, and they're like, oh, there's spine roll or whatever, and stack bend, and I'm like, I don't know, I thought I got that out. But again, sometimes CGC, their books get received, and they sit in the warehouse, right? And then it's obviously first come first serve. They move through the line. So even though they've been received, they could still be sitting in the warehouse for a week, 2 weeks, or whatever it is. And I know it's air controlled, but it's still Florida. The humidity's still there. Sometimes these books can lose their press. It happens. So you really have to make sure you do a good job. And I guess I messed up on a couple the first time. So I went through again. Tried it again and hit it. And hopefully, let's see what we got. So the book in question is this guy right here, and this is Punisher number 10, right? And this is I'm not sure if this is the first appearance of Frankencastle, but it's one of the first. Rare book to find. You don't see it that often in the wild. I found this raw, cleaned and pressed it. First time I submitted it, came back at 9.2, and I was like, yeah, I think we could do better than that. So came back, I pressed it, and we got, bam. So we got it to a 9.6. And the graders notes came back, and I can see that there is one or two very small color breaking ticks, which obviously you can't do anything about that. And sometimes when those bends are there, you can't really see if it's color break. It just it's folded onto itself. So once you actually unfold it, you'll start seeing the breaks in it. And it is what it is. But this is one of those books where there's not many on the census. I believe there's only maybe a handful that are even 9.8, and everything else is either 9.6 or lower. And there's probably less than 20 or something like that, 25, I believe, on the census. So it's very low census count. So I'm happy with that. It's a bump, right? 2 grade bumps higher, and I'll take that. So definitely happy with that press. And lessons you learn along the way to press things a little better. And you take those lessons and you move on, right? And you go forward and you try to keep getting better. All right, next one, we have another Kraken press. This one I submitted. This one is actually maybe only one of 2 or 3 in this lot that's actually for my personal collection. And the first time I submitted this, it came back in 8.0, and I was not happy. Even now, I feel like I still see some, little spine stresses on it. Nothing too crazy. It's a lot better than it was before, but I can still see them. I'm not sure if that happened during handling, because when I submitted these, I took pictures and photos and stuff like that, and they didn't look like they were there. So I don't know, but I'm not sure if I'd even attempt to do it a third time, just because, obviously the cost, and it's just, I don't know if it's just even worth it. It looks good now, but again, it's one of those things where, like, it's just, it digs at me a little bit because I feel like it could just do a little better, but I'm not sure if the cost is worth it, right? Especially if it doesn't go past a certain grade. So the book in question is this one right here, and it is X-Men 107. This is the first full appearance of the Starjammers, and the first time I sent this in, it came back as an 8.0. Spine takes and all types of stuff that I thought I got out, and apparently they came back. Cleaned it, pressed it, and resubmitted it, and we got, bam, we got it to a 9.2. So, happy with that. Obviously, that's what, 8.5, 9.0, 9.2, right? So, it's a decent grade bone, right? Three grades up. Could it potentially be higher? Maybe even a 9.4. Maybe there are like 1, 2, maybe 3 spine ticks, right? They are partially color breaking, but very, very light. And I'm wondering if those get pressed out, will it get a 9.4? Probably not going to get a 9.6. But, there's a potential there that it's, if it could get a 9.6, it might be worth it to crack it out one more time and just give it that, college try. But I'm just like, I don't know. I have to sit on that one, but I'm still happy with the results on this. The back looks nice and clean, and I think it's literally just the front of those like 3 ticks. So I don't know. I am still debating on that. Maybe my next submission, if I don't have like enough books to make it worth it as far as like the shipping goes, maybe I'll throw it in there and just to kind of even it out. All right, so we got another Kraken press, and again, this one is one that I just didn't like the result that I got the first time, and this guy had a 9.4 last time, which is respectable, but I still thought it could be just a little better. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try it one more time. And it is this guy right here. So we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, and this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures #1. This is a nice newsstand copy, and this is the first appearance of Bebop and Rocksteady. And it was a 9.4, and I like, and you can still see there's a little bit of waviness on the top there. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. There's maybe like 1 tick, but it's slightly color breaking. But what did we get? Bam, we got it to a 9.6. So again, I will take that, right? It's a bump. We're close to a 9.8. Like I said, I'm not sure if this can even hit a 9.8. Maybe, but again, it's one of those things where, like, is it worth it to crack it out one more time and try it one more time and try to get that 9.8? But it is what it is. It's still a great book. I think I picked this up at a antique shop, and thought I paid a decent amount for it. Nothing too crazy. I was definitely under market value, and there was a time when this book in a 9.8, in newsstand, like, shot up to almost $1,000 or something crazy like that. Obviously, it's come crashing down. to a degree, but it has come down quite a bit. So obviously getting a 9.8 of this would have been ideal, but you know, there's like a slight color breaking tick right there. You know, sometimes you can get away with that, but you know, obviously with the roll on top that you saw, or that waviness, and then like there's like one or two other like very, very tiny non-color breaking creases, you know, that's gonna affect it. So it is what it is, but I did get the gray bump, so I will take that. All right, moving on to the next one, and this one is not a crack and press. This is one that I actually bought at a local con that is in the New England area, and they do it, you know, I forgot how many times they do it, but it's like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. It's just hosted at a, you know, hotel in the area. They rent out like the ballroom, and somebody was selling a bunch of books. Everything on the table was $1. Every book that he had in all the boxes was $1. Saw this book. I knew exactly what it was. It's a first appearance, and it actually looked extremely clean. And I was like, this has potential, 9.8 potential. So I was like, yeah, it's going down. And so the book in question is Green Lantern Corps 201, and this is the first appearance of Kilowog, and obviously I'm not sure if he's going to be in the Lantern show, but you know, Lantern was coming out. I knew it was a good book, nice key issue, and I'm like, yeah, this definitely has potential, especially for $1. You might as well give it a shot, right? So I thought it had the potential for a 9.8, and what did we get? Bam! So we got the 9.8 on this guy. So thought that was awesome, and like I said, for $1, come on, man, you had to take that chance. I didn't have to do much to this. I did, you know, still pressed it just to make sure, but it didn't need much because this thing was clean for $1. It was like, yeah, had to do it. So happy with that. You know, who knows what's gonna happen with the show, if it's gonna be good or not, if this character actually shows up or not. But either way, this is a great book to have. I believe like this is like my second or third copy of this book. Nothing this clean, but you know, who knows if I keep this or not. It might be one that I move on. Green Lantern is an okay character, but not one that I really collect. So who knows? I know there's definitely a lot of Green Lantern fans out there. All right, next one is another book that I just purchased from my LCS at That's Entertainment. They had this on their wall books. As soon as I saw the white, I knew exactly what it was. Took it out. They had it for a decent price because there was some issues with the book. It was raw, and there was some crunching down at the bottom. And I'm like, yeah, you know. But again, they had it for a decent price. So I'm like, you know what? I'll take a chance at it. I think I could press that out, and we'll see what we get, right? So the book in question is this guy right here. Yeah, you know what that is. So it's Planet Comics #1. Awesome Dave Stevens cover. Yeah, I mean, I saw that. I was like, I had to have it. This might be one of the books that I might keep. I'm not sure. You know, the obviously the Good Gore art, a cover that's been homaged by a number of artists. And I thought that after the press, this had a potential for an 8.5. Because that crunch down in the bottom was very prominent. And I pressed this quite a bit of times. And, you know, I steamed it, did a bunch of things, tried to press it out as much as I could. And like I said, I thought I was going to at least get an 8.5. And we got, bam, 9.0 white pages. So I was definitely happy with that. I tend to, you know, grade on the more conservative side. I take all of the, you know, the dings and nicks and I mark off for each one of those, even though they could still fit into the categories of like 9.6 and 9.8 and stuff like that, because they do give you a slight window. But you know, there's still the crunch here just a little bit, even though you can't really see it unless you really bring it up to you. I think they also found something else inside. Not exactly sure. Maybe like a tiny bit of rust on the staples or something like that, on one of the staples. But it still got white pages. 9.0, I'll take that. Right, that's a great grade for this book, right? That's a high grade, right? So definitely happy with that. And like I said, it was a lot, it's one grade higher than what I was expecting. So I will take that all day. Anytime you could be either right on the money or, under your grade, and you get higher, absolutely. All right, so this next one is another book that I bought for my LCS. And this one was graded, and it was graded as an 8.5. And I took a look at it, and I'm like, you know what? I think I might be able to press some of these things out. So definitely took it out. And after I noticed that there was like a slight little tear on the bottom cover. And I was like, damn it. I didn't really notice that. But other than that, the book looked pretty damn good. And the book in question is this one right here. And we have Elvira's House of Mystery, number 11. And this is another Dave Stevens cover. So like I said, it was an 8.5. And I'm like, I think I can press this out. If I can get this to at least 9.0, right? I'm like, that's pretty good, especially in a newsstand for this. Obviously there's a lot of Dave Stevens fans out there, a lot of people that want to collect all his works. And, I was like, I think I could get this a little better. So I was, in the more conservative side, I thought at least a 9.0, right? I can get at least one grade bump, especially with that tear on the bottom. And what did we get? Bam. Yep. We got a 9.4 in this guy. So near mint, right? White pages again. So I'm definitely happy with that, right? Obviously, that's another 3 grade bump. 9.0, 9.2, 9.4, right? So, again, I will take that all day, every day. Was it going to get a 9.6? No, absolutely not. That's why I was like, at least a 9.0, you get 1 grade bump, I'm happy. To get 3 grade bumps, yeah, absolutely. So definitely take that, and it presents extremely nice. All right, let's keep it rolling. So next one, and then we have second to last one here. This was another raw copy that I bought for my LCS, and took a look at it. Great cover. One of my favorite artists again on this cover, and a book that I've had before, but not in a newsstand. I was like, this can at least get, if I clean and press it, I think I can get this to at least an 8.5. That was my prediction for this book, right? It did have some damage to it, some color breaking ticks that I wasn't going to be able to get out, especially in the back. There was definitely not going to be able to get that out. So I was like, you know what? Let me go for it. And that book is this guy right here. We know this one, Batman 423. And this is the amazing Todd McFarlane cover. And this is a story by Jim Starlin. Obviously, inside art, Dave Cockrum, Mike DiCarlo. So this was, this book had some heavy hitters on it. This is one of those things where they asked Todd McFarlane to do a cover. I don't think the cover artist or somebody, I don't even think he knew what the story was in it. He just did a cover. So yeah, like I said, I bought this raw. Thought it was going to be at least an 8.5. That's after everything. And what did we get? Boom. Right on the money. 8.5. So hit it exactly on the head, right? Nail on the head. Happy with that, right? This is a great book. It's one that I've always wanted. I had like a third print before. Never had a first print. This is the first newsstand I had. Will I keep it? Not sure. I might move this on to probably pick up a better copy. We'll see what. But like I said, I'm happy with those results. So yeah, I will take that. All right, and now on to the last book. And this one was a tough one. So this is a book from my childhood. I loved this cartoon. I love this character in the cartoon. And, I bought this at a really good price. It's a third print, so that gives you any indication. This character does not speak. And that is G.I. Joe number 21, the first appearance of Snake Eyes, third print. And as you can see, this looks pretty clean other than that little ruffle on the top, right? Which for some reason, I don't know if it's the way they put the books, because all of them have it and they didn't have it before. As you can see, it's clean, barely a spine tick on it, slight roll, which is crazy. I thought this book had a chance at least for a 9.6. Clean, right? It looks clean. And I'm like, yeah, like the price I paid for it, absolutely, right? So what did we get? Bam. We got an 8.0. So I was like, what the hell? Because this is probably the best looking 8.0, presenting 8.0 you will see. Barely a spine tick on it. Just a slight little roll right there that you can see the little white. The rest of the book is clean as hell. When I read the grader's notes, they said that there's maybe some kind of like, crunch on the bottom or something like that, which I can't even see. Right there's maybe that little roll right there, which that wasn't there, so that might have been them. And then I think they said there's like a stain or some kind of color. I don't see it. Right, I think it was in the back. I think they said it was in the back. I'm not seeing that discoloration anywhere. I'm not seeing it in the front, so I have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to that discoloration. This is, like I said, the cleanest 8.0 that you will see. This might be one that I have to crack, repress it, and try to resubmit it, because I don't feel like this is an 8.0. That it's absolutely absurd. I've seen books with worse, a lot worse, and get 9.0s, 9.2s, 9.4s, 9.6s, right? We've all seen the 9.8s that have 2, 3 color breaking ticks, and they still give it a 9.8, right? It's absolutely absurd. So for this to come back in 8.0, I'm like, that's insane. And there's no tears, there's no rust, there's no cutouts. It's just clean. For it to be an 8.0 just because of like that little bend on the bottom, like that's insane. Like, come on. So I don't know what the hell. Again, that's definitely gonna have to be one that I crack and resubmit, because that's just crazy. So, yep, that was the last book. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that unboxing. We'll go over the books real quick. So the first one, or I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm just reading off of what I have on paper. So we're just going to read that off. And so Batman 423, Todd McFarlane cover. I bought that raw. Thought it was going to be an 8.5. Came back as an 8.5. Elvira's House of Mystery 11. Awesome Dave Stevens cover. It was an 8.5 when I bought it. I cracked it. Cleaned it. Thought it was going to be a 9.0. Came back at 9.4. Green Lantern Core 201. First Kilowog. Bought it raw for $1. Thought it had a chance for a 9.6. It came back at 9.8. Planet Comics. Bought that raw. Thought it had a chance at 8.5. Came back as a 9.0. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1. First Bebop and Rocksteady. Newsstand copy. Bought that raw. I submitted the first time. Came back at 9.4. Cleaned and pressed it. And it came back at 9.6. Erotech number 1. Variant cover. That was raw copy. It was a 9.8 all day. And it was because it has a nice card stock. X-Men 522. That was a resubmit. It was a 9.4 previously. And after that, it came back at 9.8. G.I. Joe 21, third print. I thought that was going to be a 9.6. Bought it raw. Came back in 8.0. That was awful. We got Punisher number 10 variant cover. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's the first appearance of Frankencastle. It doesn't really mark it on there. But it came back in 9.2 the first time. Cracked it out. Got a 9.6. And X-Men 107, that was a submit the first time. Came back in 8.0. Cracked it, cleaned it, came back in 9.0. So, or actually, I thought it was going to be a 9.0, came back in 9.2. So, got another bump there. So, I will take that. Obviously, 9 out of 10. Pretty good. Either right on the money or if not better. We only had one book that was extremely lower. But I think it's one of those things where that one I might be able to resubmit that and get a higher grade on it. But yeah, I'm happy with the results. It's been a journey doing the cleaning and pressing. I enjoy it. It is a little time consuming only because I don't have a lot of time. I usually have to do it at night. It's one or two books here and there, and I leave them overnight and stuff like that. So it is time consuming when I have to submit things. But it is what it is. You have to be kind of selective in what you submit. I don't just submit everything, right? I feel like it's books that can either be moved or books that are going to stay in my collection that I think are pretty high grade. So that's my assessment of books. So yeah, that was it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the books. Let me know what's your favorite, and do you guys ever think about cracking and pressing books and resubmitting them? If you guys like to do that, I know some people don't even care about graded books, but it is what it is, right? Everybody does their own things. I have plenty of raw books, plenty of graded books. I enjoy both. I enjoy bringing books essentially back to life, right? Bringing them back to their former glory. I enjoy that when I see that, and think it's just awesome, right? So again, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And, hopefully next time I can do a live stream of these and do a proper blind unboxing for you guys. All right. So until next time, talk to you guys later. Peace.